Everything that comes up, I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to make this work? I'm in between making a movie and an album, and I'm on tour. Let's throw a video game in the mix. So when Assassin's Creed thing came up and it was all taking place during the French Revolution, I thought that was incredibly attractive because it is such a dark, weird time, yet so visually stunning that I thought, well, at first it seemed like an odd thing for a video game, but after getting deeper into it, I realized that it was perfect. Tony Moore will be helping to imagine some of this, doing the storyboards and the layout art. I thought, well, he's fantastic, so that'll be a great combination.
I'm Tony Moore, comic book illustrator. Most people know my work from The Walking Dead. It's definitely an awesome opportunity to get to work with guys like Rob and Justin on a project that's got the profile of Assassin's Creed. And the story itself is really fun because there's no shortage of things to noodle on or kind of sink your teeth into as far as the subject matter goes.
When Ubisoft first approached us about producing the project, they had a very specific outline of some key events that they wanted us to touch on that took place during the French Revolution. So we gave Rob a very specific sort of framework to work with him, but we gave him enough room that he could put his stamp on it and really, put some of his really brutal visualizations to the story.
I would look at the reality of what went on in the French Revolution, the way things were done, and I just thought, like, well, it's not like there's tons of film footage of all this going down, other things could have happened, and I would just look at each situation and kind of put my own twist on it and thought, well, that probably could have happened, and this could have happened, or this could have looked like that.
I had a lot of fun drawing, it's a simple frame, but King Louis XVI's severed head just laying on the ground, and you can see the kind of like ham steak of the neck. It was awesome because I could, lay it in and put all the details in there. And then when I hand it off to Justin, like, I don't have to worry that it's going to get misinterpreted because he's probably the one other person I could hand it to who also knows what the cross-section of a human neck looks like.
The way that Tony works, it's completely different than the way that I do my layouts. Doing all the detail shots where it's super close-ups of, like a knife in an eye or a severed head or just something spurting out of something. It's really fun. And watching what the post team is doing is really cool, where they're doing like the 3D mapping and changing the stuff that I see is kind of generally flat and turning it into a world.
What I love about Tony Moore's artwork is it's so expressive and intense, and he takes you into these situations that are so fun to animate because the characters almost will themselves to life. Kyle from New Science really wanted to see how far we could push the envelope, so we developed some new techniques to bringing the characters and environments to life in an organic way that was true to the original art.
Really what brought the whole story together was Fyodor, the actor who played the executioner. When we first heard his voice, we really knew that he was the executioner, like he was our guy. He went into a studio in Paris and just delivered just the most incredible performance.
No longer would we be left to die. We formed a National Assembly for the Third Estate. Our first step in the fight for independence.
The sound for this story required it to carry a good amount of the storytelling. We accomplished that by using a lot of modern sound design with really dark musical cues to try to transport the viewer to this dark place and period of history.
I think that's probably quintessentially Rob is that juxtaposition of sexiness and just gross. And it's what makes his stuff all work. I think it's probably what's made it work, in his music videos since the beginning, and now his movies and stuff too.
I got aware of the materials and looked at it. I got, interested and inspired and wanted to be part of it. And once my brain clicks in to be part of something, then I kind of have to do it.
It's just outside of the realm of what I usually do, like just enough that it's challenging, which keeps it engaging. And in that aspect, it's been a load of fun and probably one of the coolest games I've ever gotten to work on.
Pre-order now. Available October 28th.